Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. Excuse me. So we're doing the first one of the Auric programming and somatic programming. And so we're going to start with active intelligence, number one. We're going to be going through it week by week. And so again, let's just revisit. Like if you look down at conditions, it says conditions associated with this Auric program. uh, Attention deficit disorder, autism, bipolar, bulimia, dementia, depression, drug addiction, schizophrenia. Now, there's a lot of other benefits other than just the conditions, but if you're trying to troubleshoot and problem solve conditions, um, that's the thing that you would look at. But the idea of active intelligence is when we have our past experiences or when we learn something, when we study something and memorize something, it's a kind of intelligence, but it's usually based on the past and it's usually based on memorization. But here with active intelligence, it's a combination of intellect and intuition. And so you could call it kind of an active intelligence where you're able to produce a result, where if you have a big academic background, you've studied a bunch of things, but you still have to go in the world and begin to learn how to apply these things, right? And so we are shifting from like a kind of sterile intelligence to an active intelligence or a dynamic intelligence. So it's the ability to take in information, apply it, and produce a result. Basically another way of saying innovating or problem solving. Right. If you think about the things that we talk about, like, oh, there are patterns in our lives and difficulties that we have, or even healing for, particular issues in our life, the more that we have active intelligence, the more that we can learn our way out of those situations. If we have sterile intelligence, we kind of are waiting for everything to be perfect and something to happen externally to kind of liberate us. Where active intelligence is like, I'm getting up and I'm walking out of here. I don't care what's going on. Like, I'm done with this. Right. So, active intelligence is very activating to the center between the eyebrows, upper will or mental will, the ability to have strategic thinking, problem solving, innovating. So it's a pretty good thing to cultivate, even if you don't have some issue that you're doing. This is still something that usually improves the quality of life and quality of relationship or quality of um, things at work. Now, like here we have conditions. Eventually, we're going to have like more of a psychological and even mystical aspects to address, but I'm still working on that. But I think this is a good place for us to start. Um, Again, your ability to take in new and abstract information and the ability to communicate it, the ability to apply it, the ability to problem solve, to be strategic, to be dynamic in action and activity. Even to the point where you're directing a group of people, not just yourself. So it'd be tied to leadership qualities. Okay, so you have the blend, active intelligence. And we're going to do the standard approach, which you could do daily for maintenance, or you can do the advanced approach, which is something you might do just once a week or so. You can do the advanced approach once a week and then do maintenance with the standard approach daily. But right now, we're going to do both. So you have your blend active intelligence, and you're going to begin inhaling. Your awareness is on the whole left side of your body, left side of your face and neck, your left shoulder, ribs, hip, down the outer leg to the left outer ankle. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Your awareness is on the whole left side of your body. Now move your awareness to the front side of the body. Your face and throat, your chest, your abdomen, the front of your pelvis, down the fronts of your legs to the tops of your feet. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. The right side of your body. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths with your awareness on the right side of the body. Right side of your face and neck, your right shoulder, right ribs and hip, down the outer leg to the right outer ankle. And then the back side of your body, the whole back side. Your awareness is on the whole backside of the body. And then just pause and be still. Just be still. Okay. Now we're going to do the advanced version. You kind of feel how that feels with the standard approach. Let's see what happens now with the advanced approach. So if you want to again check in with your body, your emotions, your thoughts. Your awareness is on the left side of your body. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Now we're going to the back side of the body. So we're going the opposite direction first, and then we'll eventually come back around and go the other direction. So you're on the back side of your body, back of your head and neck, your whole back, your hips, down the back of your legs to the heels. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And then the right side of your body, the whole right side of your face and neck, your right shoulder, down the ribs, down the outer leg to the right outer ankle. Then the front side of your body. Your awareness is on the front side of the body. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And then just be still. Just be still. Just let it all go. Let it incubate. Begin inhaling. Your awareness is on your knees. Your awareness is on your knees. The front, sides, and back, or at least the back. The ankles. Your awareness is on the ankles. The soles of your feet. Your awareness is on the soles of your feet. And then just pause. Just pause. Again, begin inhaling the left side of your body, left side of your face and neck, left shoulder and ribs, your left hip, down the outer leg to the left outer ankle. The front side of your body, the whole front side, your face and neck, down low, whole front side of your torso, the chest, the abdomen, the front of the pelvis, down the fronts of the legs to the tops of the feet. The right side of the body, from the right side of your face and neck, your right shoulder, on the ribs and hip, down the outer leg to the right outer ankle. The whole right side of your body. The back side of the body, back of the head and neck, your whole back and hips, down the backs of the legs to your heels. And then pause and be still. How's this one feeling, Dorje? Just let it incubate for a moment. Now the last part, which this is tied to the somatic programming. Your awareness is on the brain. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths with your awareness on the brain. And then the spine. Your awareness is on the spine. Your awareness is on the spine. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. The brain and spine both at the same time. And the brain and the soles of your feet. the brain and the soles of your feet. And as you inhale, raise your awareness up above the ankles a little bit. And as you exhale, move your awareness down into the earth. And then just let go. Just let it incubate. Just let go. So the very first thing we did was the standard approach, which is meant for maintenance, for daily use, and also for what we would call auric stacks, right? But when we started with going in the reverse direction, where we went left, back, right, front, and then down to the knees, ankle soles, and then did it left, front, right, back, and then brain, spine, brain, soles of the feet. That's the advanced version. And are we posting something like that up? Yeah. So it's also posted for you guys. And so the advanced approach, you know, I, if you felt comfortable, you could do it twice a week. But I think for most people, probably once a week is pretty good. If you feel your energy body can handle it and everything, you could do twice a week. Now, in that time, you could do several cycles of it, but I would say do it in one sitting. It'll take a little while for it to process in your energy body, but we're we're shifting the aspect in the aura that is the potential for increased active intelligence. So we can have shares and questions, and then we'll go into our normal Q&A. But yeah, this is fun that we get to do this every week, and you can thank Samantha for this. This was her brainchild, and so yeah. Anyway.
All right, go ahead, Robert, then Priya.
Hey, Robert.
Hey, Greg. My question's more for the normal Q&A than for the
Okay, I'll
work
call you
program.
back for that then.
Thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead, Priya.
Hey, Priya.
Hey, thank you so much. And Sam, thank you for coming up with this brilliant idea. As I was doing the practice, there was just ideas
Mm,
coming into my mind
sure.
for even if it was just some writing work that I was doing long ago, for some random project, there were ideas coming for that, and that
Mhm.
was kind of interesting. So thank you.
Nice. Yeah, and definitely, like, like I said, problem solving, but like even just getting new ideas. I mean, yes, that's tied to creative intelligence, but it's still problem solving to a certain degree. And so, even with your artistic works and everything, it should enhance that. I find that like even practices where you're trying to do inner healing and things like that, also uh, this is very impactful as well. And so it's a good one to work for anybody. It's a good one to work. There's some that like are just like everybody should do this one, and this is one of them.
So even if somebody lacks tactfulness or, just
Yeah,
this will sort of
I,
bring that
I
in.
would say this helps. It's not going to completely make them massively different, but it would open up the potential for them to be like more tactful, more strategic, because like tactfulness is like being socially strategic, you know what I mean? Like I gotta
Yeah.
be gentle with how I say this, or I need to, say this at the right time, or whatever that might be. And so yeah, it helps with adjusting and adapting. That's the way I always think of this. Adjust and adapt, adjust and adapt. When it comes to the mental faculties, it's active intelligence.
And even if somebody has never had that kind of exposure for
Yeah.
tactfulness
Oh,
and
yeah. I mean, part of why they wouldn't have it is, there's going to be a component that might be in the vibration, the vibration of the body, some aspect there, but there's a big aspect of it that's in the potential in the aura itself. And so this would be a combination, anything that's an Auric program is a combination of physical blockages, physiological blockages, or blockages in the processes, and then also how we um, uh, process things and manifest. And so when I say process, like cognitively, um, and so a lot of times, even if we try to think something different or do something different or try to cultivate a different behavior, if this is the energetic mold or blueprint, it's always going to be the thing that's physicalizing. And so if something's not able to happen, then there's something in the aura that's not allowing it to happen. There's some program, there's some blockage in the aura itself because it's never able to manifest. Or you'll have a thing where it manifests and then it goes away, and then it manifests and it goes away. It's like you taste it and then it goes away. you know.
Mm.
Again, it goes back to there's something in the aura that's not allowing it to completely physicalize.
Yeah. So I've done active intelligence a few days ago,
Mhm.
also in my during my own practice, and some other also. But sh- there is this feeling. Oh my God, I'm so excited! I am excited. I'm happy. But then, and that was the case even during this practice. Like I feel like I am so excited for
Mhm.
all of this work that I'm doing. But there is this feeling also that kind of creeps in. Don't be excited, don't be happy.
Right.
So and that has happened in the past also, but even during this protocol that I was doing, I
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
there was this inner talk that no need
Right.
to be so excited, no need to be so
I think
happy.
that's pretty normal. You know, I'd love to be able to find the way where you can just like flick the switch and it's like, I've arrived, you know, but it's lot of back and forth, you know, because you start to make a shift, but there's still parts of us that haven't gotten the memo yet. You know what I mean? So, but you keep moving forward because eventually what happens is even some of that gets converted over a period of time. And then after a while, you'll look back and you'll go, man, 3 months ago, I was way back there. Now I'm here. Like I'm in a different place of functioning. And, you know, it didn't happen in one big fell swoop. It happened in a lot of little movements.
Love that. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
It's kind of like what we're talking about, you know, like with a life altar. It's kind of in the same vein, but here we're talking about the energetic mold or blueprint. The thing with the life altar is like the thought forms that are like in the body and the emotions and the mind itself. So it's almost like the inner version of what the Auric program is. And so you know, it's tied to a lot of conditioning. And so the idea of little movements, and if you think about even like when we do some of the work with going deeper into the heart and the heart seat, as you go little movements at a time, it's so that like parts of you can acclimate to it, you know, because like if you go a little bit harder or a little too fast, there's going to be a part of you that goes, no, no,
Mm.
no. But if you go a
Mm.
little bit, they're like, okay. And then you go a little bit further and they're like, okay. And then pretty soon you're like, I'm sitting here, you know, a little bit deeper. Okay. Like, you know,
Mm.
and then all of a sudden you have that develop that depth of going inward or healing or shifting that you can like hold on to, you know, but
Yep.
we try to go too fast. You know, trust me, God, I tried to do that so much when I was young. It never worked. You know, it just never worked. Like even if you were able to touch it, it would just float away really fast. And so this is like a way to kind of keep working something so that you can make the shift and like stick it in your pocket. You're like, I own this. Like this is part of me now.
Mm. Well, when we do our normal Q&A, I have a few questions written down for too
Okay.
fast. So let's
Okay.
see how that goes. But thank you. I'll let the open Q&A get started by Sam. Thank you.
Oh, we actually still have shares and some
Okay.
questions in
Okay.
chat as well. So someone share was, thank you. It was great hearing the explanation again since I've been working this oil. Much deeper experience.
It's going to be nice because you know it's such a big class and such a big kit that there's no way that we could sit and chat in a weekend through all of the 49 aspects. But now we're going to go one by one and you know we'll chat it up about each one. And so I mean it either reinforces something you already know or maybe opens up potentials for you in things that we didn't know. So
And even in that vein, one of the things we did was open it up to everybody,
yeah.
this practice. And so, you know, people are getting those oils and able to practice for the first time and experience that.
Yeah.
And with that, someone shared, I have diagnosed ADHD and autism type 2. Prior to beginning the practice, I was having racing thoughts, and this oil just brought calm, clarity, and focus. The outside chatter went quiet. What a relief.
Yeah, so like something like that, like I would do the advanced approach like maybe twice a week and then do maintenance. I mean, we did it one time, but we did the standard and the advanced in under 45 minutes. And so even if you were just doing the standard approach, you could probably do it in like 10 or 15 minutes. The long approach, if you drop the standard approach, you could probably do it in about a half hour. And so if you do it kind of consistently, it will make the results last longer and longer over a period of time.
Kind of in that, someone's asking, what do you mean by somatic programming? And I think because we have some new people too.
Right. So, here we're talking about the aura, but the somatic programming is then like how it physicalizes into the body and into your body and into your energy field. And so part of how that happens is, your brain and your spine are tied not just to your physiology, but they're also tied to things that you think and feel. And then we take it down into the earth. And so a lot of times, whatever we think about repetitively or have a strong emotion to, we're sending energy into the earth and then it physicalizes into the body. Or into the aura, I should say. And so even like things like trauma, this is how trauma would physicalize, like brain, spine, brain soles of the feet, right? And then when we do that thing where you inhale and move your awareness up, and then exhale, moving your awareness down, it's how it like your energy mixes with the energy of the earth, right? And so here, instead of having negative things manifest because of, the things that happen to us or our reactions, we're physicalizing something positive. We're taking that aspect of active intelligence and going, okay, I don't want to just in my aura, I'm going to physicalize it so it anchors into the aura and becomes like a positive program or a positive thought form that eventually physicalizes into my body, my emotions, and my mind. Yeah, so great. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed, and let's go ahead and open it up to like regular Q&A. And I think both Robert and Priya had something, and so.
Yeah, let's actually start with Robert,
Sure.
and then we'll go to you, Priya.
Hey, Robert.
Hi, Greg. I am here with one of my clients, Emma.
Okay.
She and I would both like to hear some guidance on how we might use oils to help her. And I'll let
Okay.
her talk about what's going on with her.
Okay.
Hello, Robert.
Great.
Greg, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Hi.
I've struggled throughout my life, including TBI during infancy,
Okay.
PTSD from the death of my mother when I was 3,
Okay.
and now ADHD, age 37.
Okay.
I experience great irritation as I can feel all electronic devices physically rumble,
Okay.
causing sensory overwhelm
Mm-hmm.
and disrupting my ability to focus.
Okay.
This overwhelm makes me believe that others are coming into my home and my car and using my electronic devices to observe and harass me.
Okay.
I have difficulty interacting with others.
And Emma is looking for any help that you can suggest.
So I would say let's approach this in steps, because
Mhm.
there's some physiological things, and then like you said, there's PTSD and old traumas and then just the byproduct of, how to manage those traumas as you grow up and get older, then that turns into mm, ways of thinking and strategies and, all those kinds of things to manage uncomfortable feelings. And so the thing that I would like to do right off the bat is, and Robert can help you with this. So I'll talk it out, and Robert will guide you through this. But um, so any time that there's an issue with like overstimulation, if you look at it from the point of view of the energy body, there are certain centers that get overstimulated. But if you look at it from the point of view of physiology, it's a hypersensitive and a hyperactive reaction in the sensory nerves. And that usually also means that the thalamus in the brain is overstimulated. So like if you had a desk full of papers that you needed to get through and it's already too much, and people kept coming in and dumping more papers and telling you things and playing loud, loud noises and things. At some point, you just get overstimulated. Your brain just goes, enough, too much information, too much sensory information. And so, the idea is to calm everything sensory wise, the nervous system down. And even the idea of doing it with the energetic approach, you're still kind of doing the same thing, but with energy. And so, can I ask, do you have in I just want to check. Do you have any sort of autoimmune issue that you're
It's a
aware?
it's a great question. That's actually how my mom passed away.
Okay.
Um, when I am in my best like physical health,
Uh-huh.
much less of a concern in terms of
Okay.
allergies or anything, but not, I don't know if this is too much. I don't have any acute allergies or asthma like at this junction in my life, but I
Okay.
think that I am prone to it, if that's
Okay.
helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. But there's not been a diagnosis with any sort of autoimmune issue that you're aware of. There's
Not that
like,
I'm
because it can
aware of.
fluctuate, like you said, like it can totally fluctuate.
Not that I've been diagnosed with, no.
Okay. And is it okay if I ask, like, how did your mom pass?
Yes, you can ask as many questions. She actually got sick with me in utero and developed allergies and asthma and an allergic reaction to albuterol
Okay.
across the course of those 3 years. She was believed to have had more of an autoimmune
Right.
disorder.
Right.
And ultimately, it was an exposure to pine nuts. She had a delayed allergic
Hmm.
reaction,
A nut
and
allergy.
her body just wasn't strong enough.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, the thing that I would like to do right off the bat is, and this is maybe a little bit more for Robert, but so there would be like three pieces that I'd like to address, and you can address them however you'd like, but I'll just tell you like the oil version. Um, the first would be the hyper reactivity of the sensory nerves. And so, we could use a sage body tonic, but like as I was talking to her, that's the reason why I asked for autoimmune thing is that, I do get a little bit of a vibe of like there's a little bit of a compromise in the immunity a little bit. And so sage would probably work, but I was thinking that like a body tonic applied to a majority of the body, but vetiver. Um, vetiver would be, it'd be calming, it would be soothing. I mean, so would sage, but it would calm down the sensory nerves, um, both the sage and the vetiver would have a calming effect on the thalamus, the sensory processing in the brain. But vetiver would have a little bit more of a calming effect on the immune system and just help it to be less reactive. And so there's just overstimulation like in a lot of areas. And
Yes.
so any time that we're looking at PTSD, there is a little bit of brain fatigue. And so
Mhm.
again, I go back to the hyperactivity of the thalamus and the sensory processing. I mean, that's just some of it. And so I would start with either sage or vetiver as a body tonic, applied, maybe in the evening just so it helps her to rest and everything like that. But I'd also like to use, it's going to be in the kit this weekend, but you could also use a single oil. So there is a blend that's called Stabilize, or you could use the Arnica Absolute. And the pattern, again, it's in the I can just pull it up actually and just give it to you. That's probably easier. But it's basically forehead, it's it it dramatically changed. Like, I'm sorry, I'm stopping here. I'm a boy. I can only do one thing at a time. Okay, here we go. It duplicated itself. It's silly. Okay, give me just a second here. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so you're inhaling on the forehead, the front solar plexus, the back solar plexus, the kidneys, the Mingmen, the sex chakra, the perineum, the soles, the spine, and the jaws. And so the reason being that sometimes when we're overstimulated or sometimes when we make a shift or here like it's an early traumatic event or a traumatic period of time is probably a better way of saying it. That it can be overstimulating to the nerves, like your body um, goes into like almost like a crisis mode, so it's the defense mechanisms but on steroids. And so the thing with using either Stabilize or the Arnica Absolute is, for one, it's calming the effects of trauma. Like, I mean, bottom line, that's what it's doing. It's not necessarily like, oh, let's release trauma or whatever. It's just calming the effects. And the thing that's nice about the arnica, which the stabilized blend has arnica in it, is that it's one of the plants that stimulates proper function in the body, but specific to trauma. Where like cinnamon is just a good stimulation for body's processes, like cayenne pepper is another one, or peppermint can be another one. Even poplar can be that way. A little bit more for the brain, but it can be that way for like the nervous system. But arnica does it like it's calming and soothing. And when I say stimulating, it's not like stimulating like coffee, it stimulates like proper function. And so
Mhm.
if rest and repair is not functioning right, stimulating that function then makes you rest and repair better, you know.
I love that.
Um, I think that's going to be that combo is going to
Mhm.
be a very good combo. It's not going to be the thing that wipes it all out, but it's going to be a very good first phase. The thing that, like, you know, I go back and forth with the vetiver and the sage, just because anytime there's a PTSD kind of thing that goes on, there is a little bit of brain fatigue. You know, it's just processing too much information over a period of time, and then pretty soon the brain just goes, ugh, you know.
Yeah.
And the sage is very helpful for diminishing the effects of brain fatigue. So you might even want to go back and forth between, you know, sage and vetiver. Um, so we have those two things in place, but a lot of times when there is overstimulation of the nerves, there's usually stagnant lymphatic movement. You know, so
Mhm.
again, going back to like, is there an autoimmune issue or immunity issue or aches and pains, low back pains, you know, brain fatigue, but even the lymphatic system, when it's not functioning properly, is also a delivery system for hormones and things like that. So even it can throw off the function of the endocrine system. Like the glands can be producing, but it's like
Mhm.
the packages keep getting lost or get
Mhm.
delayed in transit. You know what I mean? And so I would do just some real basic lymphatic work, you know,
Okay.
just get things moving. Like I wouldn't like go into anything like too in depth, but you know there is a little bit of a deficit in the vagal tone, which is your rest and repair mode, which
Yeah.
is tied to the lymphatic movement, but the use of sage or vetiver or even the arnica or the stabilize is going to probably stabilize that enough to where it will jumpstart lymphatic movement by itself. And then you just support it with using some lymphatic oils or, you know, tinctures or something like that. But, you know, whatever kind of works for you in your lifestyle. But
What could be a good general purpose
I just a
lymphatic?
lymphatic blend. Like I would keep
Oh,
it really basic and simple. And, you know, you could do
Yeah.
salt baths, you could do ointments, like a nice way. I mean, it smells kind of medicinal, just to give you a heads up. Um, but one of the ways that you know, it just smells like a little like birch and cedar and you know, I like it, but it's not like you want to wear it, go out to dinner for a dinner party or something. You know what I mean?
Okay. Okay.
And so we could do that in like a lotion. So like, you know, you could put on the body tonic and then maybe just let it dry and then do the lotion and then, you know, your therapy for that component would be you know, 10 or 15 minutes in the evening and that's it. And then, you know, your time with Robert. And I think the combination should be very, very helpful. You
Thank
know,
you.
as you treat that, we'll go through and we'll do like a next phase, but you know, it's just going to be a several like kind of movements or steps. But if you don't really eradicate this issue right off the bat, anything that you do otherwise, you'll make progress and it'll just snap back in a short amount of time. So let's just stabilize this part and get the nerves and all that kind of working better. Establish that also in a reflection in the energy body. And then you know, the lymphatic stuff also helps you to feel better and makes your body less achy, make you sleep better, you know, it'll do all kinds of things. And so let's keep it really simple with that and do that for like probably a good 3 or 4 weeks. And then we can reevaluate, see where you're at and see if we need to be a little bit more involved in the lymphatic work or we move on to the next phase.
Thank you.
You're so
okay.
welcome.
Thank you very much, Greg.
Yeah, any other questions, Robert, you let me know.
I will do that. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
And then go ahead, Priya, then Lolly.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, hold on just a second. Hey, Priya.
Hello again.
Mhm.
Um, so I'll make it very quick, but couple of feedbacks. Mom loves the class, the mystical healing foundation of mystical healings.
The one with
And
the colored healers.
yeah, and
Oh,
as I
super,
was
super good for her. Yeah, super good for her.
she loves it. And as I was translating for her, I picked up on so many things in much more detail. But she, next morning, she called me super early. She said that she went to bed 8 o'clock. Usually she goes to 10. But she woke up super fresh, and she said that she probably went to bed early because there was so much going on in the aura because of,
Right.
um, yeah. But she was so excited. She was like, "Can we do 3 hours today?" And I was like, "Okay."
Oh, check her out.
So she's very happy.
Yeah, good
But
for you.
questions wise, about pushing too far,
Okay.
I picked up from the class that mugwort, um, obviously it does open up the channel. So what I did was I experimented when I do that pattern with the trees blend.
Uh,
I did it with mugwort first. Would that help?
what was your reaction?
Well, as I was doing the mugwort, I felt like, oh my God, all my channels, I could instantly feel that, there is much more going on. But followed by trees, I don't know. I couldn't feel any much difference, but maybe I thought that this is something that will, unfold later on, or I wanted to just check with you on this one.
I think that's okay. Like the thing with the mugwort is like you said, it activates the areas and opens the flow substantially. If you wanted to amplify that with the trees, you might want to do the mugwort on the arms and legs, and then do the trees on that pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to do it.
So just inhale on arms and legs.
Yeah, because the thing with the arms and the legs is they are extensions of the basic chakra, and they will impact, parts of the nervous system and things like that. And so you're covering a lot of ground when you treat the arms and legs, and by treating the arms and legs, you're increasing the potential to transmute. And
Yeah.
so, like opening up the arms and legs kind of opens up other things. And then, so when you go through and you do that pattern, boom, it makes it stronger.
Awesome. I'll give that a go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Do arms and legs, and then also navel and navel minor.
arms, legs, navel, and navel minor.
Mhm.
Done. Second one would be then from the same class, I also picked up spasmophilia. And I was wondering, I have not tried it yet, but I was wondering when we do the alley and health rays from the class, vibration class, can we add spasmophilia because it would then
Sure.
open up the
Yeah,
inner.
sure, sure. So spasmophilia is just the health rays from the skin to the bones. So it has an antispasmodic effect on like muscles and tissue and everything, but it's opening up the health rays as they go towards the bone. And so it's like taking the work of the health rays even deeper into the body.
Would that be the last one or before health rays?
I would do it after health rays.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then this is gonna be pushing too far, but I'll still dare to ask. I did experiment this one. I was doing the 4 quadrants of the Auric programming advanced approach, but
Mhm.
I was inhaling the oil from one hand and I was holding the dorje in the right hand. And it was super intense.
Yeah,
I
I,
took
I I mean that's okay. Like the thing that I would say is you know, when you're working with the dorje, you want to stay like one pointed and when it's down, and then at one point when you let go. And so if you're, because you know, there is a practice with the dorje where you do the same thing. You do the work programming, but you direct the energy down and then you go left, front, right, back, and then you let go. And so you could do them both at the same time if your body can handle it. You know,
It could.
it is much more intense, but
It could. I could feel that,
yeah,
later on I was
it's
like, yeah, I
it's
can handle
stronger.
it.
Yeah, it's stronger. So, you know, that's the thing with some of these is like some of them it might feel like okay, but like you might do another like work program and it might be too much. So I would
Mm.
say case by case basis,
Yeah.
you know. Like there's gonna be some where you're like, this feels so good, and then you get another one and you're like, you know,
Yeah.
it can be a little rough sometimes.
Yeah, right.
Not
I
rough in a
agree.
bad way, but it's like you can feel you're on something. And I'd say, you know, be gentle with yourself. It doesn't have to happen all in a night.
Well, I'm trying to convince myself of patience and
Yeah.
progress over perfection.
Yeah.
Now, last question is from the Q&A from last week. You were having a chat with Teresa about the rosewood, the pattern for realization and perception. And I was wondering if there is any other oils other than rosewood for
Yeah, that like
realization.
well, rosewood's nice because it's gentle. Um,
But it was that particular pattern, the throat minor, back throat, jaws, temples, back head, forehead for that one.
right. Um, like the very first thing I used that for was giant fir, which they don't even nobody distills giant fir anymore. But like I use firs, I could use spruces, you could use aloes. I mean, there's a lot of different things you could use. Like even from the Auric programming kit, a good one to do that with is either assemblage point or with the one for Vajrayana.
Yeah,
Yeah. Vajrayana for that practice is very nice. Yeah.
noted. And
Yeah.
you mentioned that this pattern helps. Well, you mentioned that this helps with something to fall away, like attachments and projections.
Yeah.
Is it the
Yeah.
pattern that helps, or is it the oil rosewood that helps
Both.
with that?
Both. Yeah, the pattern itself does it, but the oil would augment it and even kind of direct it a little bit. And so, you know, they're not always going to have different oils are going to have different things that it might address, but um it's like you start to become more aware of something and the thing that's like not of the soul kind of starts to fall away a little bit,
Yeah.
you know. And you do it over a regular period of time and you'll notice that like your brain and your mind are thinking differently than normal. Like
They,
you know, you're it's almost like an improved version of yourself.
yeah. I feel like I'm already there with everything that I've
Mhm.
been working on. I feel like a new me, and it's been great. And especially the last 7 days, if I go outside, I don't get triggered. I still do, but it's not as bad. The
Right.
um,
Think about where you
external.
were 6 months ago.
Oh my God, I couldn't
Yeah.
even go to the
Remember I said
supermarket.
little movements at a time, and now you look back and you go, oh, 6 months. You
Yeah.
look at how much you've shifted and changed, and you know, the more you do it, the more accelerated it becomes.
Mm. I'm
Yeah.
excited. Thank
Yeah,
you
yeah,
so much.
you're doing great. You're doing great.
Thank you. And thank you, Sam.
Welcome. Don't know what I'm doing, but you're welcome. And then go ahead, Lolly.
Hey, Lolly.
Hey.
All right.
So let's see. Just a couple of things. So I'm wondering, what would you do when your kids, like little kids, like a 2-year-old and then like a 5-year-old with stomach issues? Because I have the kit, with the 5 oils, And so how do I troubleshoot that? So it can be like stomach pain.
For kids, it's really kind of simple. Like, for adults, we get really kind of complicated about it. But with the kid blends, I probably Roman chamomile would troubleshoot almost all of that.
Okay, which that was my train of thought, but then what would you do it if internally is not an option?
Internal might be a little much for them. Like,
Yeah.
like even for like the 2-year-old, like even if you decide to do something internal, I'd put like a drop in a glass of water and then give them a spoonful at a time.
Right, but
Yeah,
internal is probably not an option. So what would you do topically on
Yeah, I
this?
would do, I'd put it in some lotion or, massage oil. But, you want to get it on the abdomen. But the thing with children, especially the 2-year-old, you'll want to rub the arms and legs first. And then it doesn't have to have the essential oil in the arms and legs, but then the oil applied to the abdomen. But if you don't rub the arms and legs first, the baby's, and you go right to the abdomen, it'll engage like a protective mechanism, and their abdomen will tense up, their body will tense up, they'll get like kind of, a baby's version of fight flight. It's just they go into defense mode. So if you kind of rub the arms and legs first and then go to the abdomen, they'll relax. And then when you do abdominal stuff, even just touching it, it's fine. But
Okay.
like, probably just a drop, like a drop in
Okay.
lotion, and the
And
5-year-old, maybe 2 drops.
yeah, and I do have the ready-made like BT, that's a little bit more for babies that you made.
Sure.
And that's what I actually told her to use. But I wanted to double check with you. I was like, was I correct? So I was.
Yeah.
And
And
also,
so the other thing that I would say is, with little kids is, they can have stress and anxiety too.
yeah.
So lavender, mandarin, the
Mhm.
chamomile, if it's really extreme, you could do a little tiny bit of Melissa. But usually lavender, mandarin, chamomile will knock out a lot of just tension and stress in the child. But the abdominal stuff, the digestive things, the Roman chamomile works really well.
Okay, perfect. And yeah, and I got them using the chamomile and the lavender mostly. So
Yeah, that was a great
okay.
combo. Yeah, great combo.
Okay. And then really the mandarin, which was also in the lovely gift from this week. So thank you. What would you, because even in the kit, I wasn't sure how would you actually use it. I don't think it's in you mentioned,
Yeah, so the thing with Mandarin for children is like any sort of inhalation. You don't even really have to get it on them topically. So you could have them inhale it, but you could also just, diffuse it in a room that they're in, or, put a few drops on a napkin and then, crumble it and stick it in the corner or something. Just get it in the air. But children tend to really like mandarin. It's probably because it's, it tastes like smells like candy or something sweet, but it's very, very soothing. And so if the child is wound up or prone to like fits or anything like that, the chamomile, the lavender, and the mandarin will usually be very helpful for that. But the mandarin will usually calm them down quite substantially. And so even for adults, like if you have like a really super chronic pattern of insomnia, one of the things you can do is just diffuse mandarin in the bedroom while you sleep, and it just keeps helping your body to keep relaxing and relaxing and relaxing. And it's not so much about what's going to happen in that first night, but you do that for a couple weeks or a month, you'll notice that you're sleeping much better.
Oh, okay. Thank you. And then, so a couple of things related to that. So about that idea of diffusing, I think it was in the newsletter yesterday. And when it was mentioned to do also etheric chords, right? Yeah, it was that. Which I actually did last night.
Yeah, doesn't it feel good?
Yeah, it was interesting. I ended up with a dream about the conflict.
Yeah. But it helps to unwind it, like it helps you to detach. But part of part of what makes the etheric chords, like, clean the cord and that component is it is releasing, lower emotion or homeostatic emotion, and it is gently kind of pushing your body into a little bit more of rest and repair mode. Not massively, but it's there.
Mhm.
And so that's a great combo.
And then really when you do that at night, I mean, I tend to diffuse something every night. I tend to diffuse more of like immune system type of thing, and I just do it for an hour and that's it. But when you diffuse it basically the most beneficial to do it for the entire night.
We do it the entire night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I
Thing
did.
that was the original thing I used to do back when I was doing healings, 5-6 days a week, was chocolate root cleanser. Like I'd take my salt bath and then I'd diffuse chocolate root cleanser all night, and it would just keep cleaning me up. And I don't do that one so much anymore, but we do different things all the time. But that etheric chords blend is just, oh, it's just so nice, diffusing it all night. I mean, I wake up and like I'm not super stiff in the morning, but you know how you gotta get up and you gotta start like stretching and moving around. When we diffuse that, I just pop right up and start bopping around. Like I don't even feel like, oh, I gotta stretch and move the body. I'm like, no, I'm good to go.
Okay. Yeah, so that was interesting. I'll keep doing that and
Yeah.
notice what
Yeah.
keeps coming up. Okay. And then the other question that's related to the Mandarin, when I looked it up on the website, it also mentioned that it's good for like stomach things. So is it something?
There's a few things that it's good for, and even inhalation can do it. But if you needed to, you could take a few drops internally. The thing that's nice about lemon and mandarin is you can put like a bottle of water. You put 3 or 4 drops in and just drink it throughout the day, and it's still like a therapeutic way of doing it, and it makes your water kind of tasty.
Yeah.
And
So would
so
you
yeah,
would
you
you
can do
actually
it that
mix
way
them
too.
together?
Yeah. I would probably do one or the other.
One or the other. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank you. So that was the main question. And then another thing that just came up recently, I was working with a couple of people, different job. Both of them have to do something with like medicine. Both of them mentioned that they have TBI from like years ago. One of them is 5 years, the other one is many years ago. Both of them have like issues with, they have slightly PTSD. One of them has issues with like bright lights. Both of them have memory issues. One of them doesn't sleep well. And I'm wondering, so with something like that, with like, brain injury from a while back, would you do what? Basil and like sage or?
Personally, what I usually do is I usually start them, even talking about that pattern where you go throat minor, back throat, the one for the head. But I usually have them use helichrysum, and even have them put like helichrysum a little bit like on the scalp and on the head and rub it in, a few times. But a lot of inhaling with awareness up on the head. And then, after maybe a few weeks, then I switch over to, sometimes you can use chamomile, but I usually use like the sage or, there's that oil, attractalodes. It's also very good for brain fatigue and like a neuroprotective component. The reason to start with the helichrysum is you're a lot of times dealing with like a fascial lesion, like when there's been the movement that, even though there's not a lot of space in there to move, but it gets like a spasm, but not in a muscle. It's in the soft tissue. And so it helps to unwind all of that. And it just helps increase circulation to the surface of the head. But part of what helichrysum is also good for is helping to regulate cerebral spinal fluid circulation. And if that tends to be a little bit more of an issue, you can back it up. You keep using the helichrysum, but you back it up with spike lavender. The other lavenders don't do it, but the spike lavender will help to regulate cerebral spinal fluid circulation. And so any time that we're talking about these kinds of things, that's usually an issue. But then after a little bit, then you start doing the basil and the rosemary and things of that nature to help stimulate like cognitive function and brain function and function of the sympathetic nervous system. Like when you look at like when somebody has like memory issues, some of it can be like if we just look at a normal person that doesn't have this background, could be stress, could be lymphatic function, could be hormones. If the lymph is real sluggish in the body, it makes the mind real like sluggish. Like, your mind doesn't react quite as quick. It's basically it's a little bit toxic, right? And so by addressing those things, that helps. It helps to resolve that somewhat. But here, when we're talking about, some sort of injury to the head or brain, or we could just say an incident, there was an incident,
Mm-hmm.
bang the head, bad car accident, whatever it might be. Part of what can happen is a thing called sympathetic dystonia, which means that, how we're always talking about vagal tone, with the rest and repair parts of the nervous system needing like tone so that they function properly. The action aspect, which is also fight flight, can lose tone, and that can cause a range of neurological like issues a little bit. And so when we look at if there is a little bit of sympathetic dystonia, for the memory to function properly, it needs like sympathetic activity. It needs function from the part of the nervous system tied to fight, flight, and action and activity. And so if there's loss of tone there, there's usually a loss of memory. Like the memory doesn't function quite as well. They don't have like the greatest recall. And, we could say we all have that a little bit, but when you have like an injury, sometimes people can have it quite a bit. And so going back to rosemary is very good for that. Lemongrass can be good for that. Oregano can also be good for that. And I also suspect that I've used this a little bit in this area, but not totally enough to where I can say like, oh, this will totally work. But I think it does. But there's the oil Ravent-Sara, not Raven-Sara, but the other one with the T, Ravent-Sara. It has a balancing effect on autonomic function, but it can be a little bit more toning to the sympathetic side if need be. Rosemary definitely will do it. Again, it's not fast, but it will do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would guarantee you that they need that. Like they'll need. I'd unwind the first phase, but the second phase would start to address like potentially the memory issues and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then when you're working with the rosemary, lemongrass, or one of these, then just regular inhalations, no pattern, right? Or
I
some
would
kind
do
of pattern?
inhalations, but I'd also do a few drops internal,
Okay.
like daily. Yeah.
Okay.
And the rosemary can be rosemary verbena. Like it doesn't have to be just a particular kind.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, okay, thank you. Yeah, I didn't even think about helichrysum, so that's a good, and it was interesting that both of them started talking about it at the same time. So
Yeah.
and it's something that I think a lot of people have that at some point in their lives, even from, I mean, even I had that from,
Well,
the car
I've had 5 or
accident.
6 where I banged my head or
But
playing as a kid, ended up with a goose egg on the back of my head.
yeah,
Broke 4 or
and
5 helmets when I was cycling, like
oh,
it just happens, it's life.
And then really, so okay, so let's say I treated that, they've been doing that for a while, and then what? Is it something that at some point really balances back to
Yeah.
the way things were
Yeah, you
before?
treat it in. It's not like necessarily a lifetime thing unless there was some anatomical damage. If there was some structural damage, then there might be. But if it's just like, oh, there was a problem, and it depends on how old and how chronic it is and how
Mm-hmm.
much the body has adjusted. But over a period of time, I would say, there was a few people, because I ran a research group that we didn't go quite a year. But that's what we did is we worked on head traumas. And I think we had like 8 therapists or 9 therapists. I can't even remember. But everyone is different. Like there's no set way. Like the injuries are all different, and the person's like constitution is different. And so, most times within a year, you could almost release them. They might not be perfect, but they're doing way better. There was some cases where it was, a few years, but it was usually a pretty nasty trauma. Like there's bones missing in the face. It was like usually bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Okay.
even there they had improvement.
Mm-hmm.
The only, I mean, there's a few where like I would say nothing really happened, but it was usually they had the one guy that jumps out at me is um, after the injury, they put a bunch of rods in his back, and you couldn't make the body shift. Like they locked it into this like weird like pattern where he didn't stand straight. He standed like off to the side,
Oh.
and his head had to always compensate. And I would get him feeling better, but like it didn't ever last. But it was too much structural damage is basically
Mm-hmm.
what you would, you know,
Yeah.
bring that
Okay.
to, and just go, you can only do so much with the
Mm-hmm.
structural integrity is shifted too much. You can only do so much,
Yeah.
you know.
Makes sense.
So.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much.
And then go ahead, Brenda.
Hey, Brenda.
Hi. I had exposure to mold and mildew over Christmas when
Okay.
traveling,
Okay.
and I'm dealing with a lot of drainage,
Okay.
some lung issues, and could you give me direction on what?
Sure. Was it in a house or was it like in the area, like the region?
It was in the house I was staying at.
Okay. Do you happen to have tea tree?
Yes.
Let's have you just take some tea tree, like maybe 3 or 4 drops, like 4 times a day. So that'll do a couple of things. That will, any sort of, spores or anything that got in, it will knock that out, and it will stimulate the immune system, will treat the respiratory system. So you're also having like a lot of mucus.
Yes, a lot of drainage, mucus.
Um,
I can't lay flat at night. I get
is it running or is it just like up
It's-
there and stuck?
it's up there stuck.
So let's do like if you're traveling, with whatever oil that you have, like use like a form of thyme or like black pepper or some rosemary, something that's will stimulate circulation and get the blood moving up there so you can get it moving and blow your nose.
Okay.
Eucalyptus might work, but usually myself I use thyme or black pepper. And
It's that
black
Tues.
pepper can just be go to the cabinet, get some black pepper, smell
Oh,
it, and it'll make you sneeze, but it will start making everything move and then blow your nose and you'll get a bunch of it out.
okay. Okay.
Yeah. So another trick, um, like when your nose is just really clogged and you're like, ugh, for the life of me, can I just breathe through my nose for a minute? Do like 2 minutes of like jumping jacks. And there's something about the movement of the jumping jacks that will make the nose let go. Yeah. So like if you ever need a trick, even lemon over a period of time will help the nose to let go. My experience is it doesn't work fast enough. Like it'll do it, but it won't do it fast. But like in some of the really old herbal books, they would have you drink a bunch of lemon juice with a little bit of cayenne pepper, and then do like 2 minutes of jumping jacks, and it makes your nose let go, so you can blow your nose and get it out of your nasal cavity.
Great.
Yeah.
Anything to diffuse during the night,
Um.
or is that too much?
No, I mean eucalyptuses would be good. Rosemary would be good. Terebinth is drying. But like you're trying to get it to like break down. So I would say, maybe like once it kind of gets moving, you could do the terebinth. But right now, like eucalyptuses, tea tree, rosemary, thyme, um, even basil if you had it, any form of that should be helpful enough to get reduction there and also aid in sleep and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how about the lungs?
The,
Feels
the
like there's a-
lungs, like it's still like there's a lot of mucus there.
No, I don't know what there is. They're just not happy.
Gotcha. So with that, you could go hyssop. Hyssop will deepen the breath, and if there's mucus, it will help reduce mucus, things like that. Larch would also do that. Frankincense would do it. Um, Hyssop would work better, but frankincense would do it. Um, like Sitka, spruces,
Yes.
but Sitka especially will do it. Um, Myrtle, like regular myrtle, red myrtle, green myrtle, all of those would be, helpful for the lungs. Another one that's good, just like as a tonic or even in cases of like bronchitis and things like that, is Neoli. And it's related to tea tree, and it can be very good for lung stuff. And so there is some things going down where it starts off nasal and then drops into the chest.
Mhm.
And so I think it's smart for you to like treat the chest, even if it's not too big of a thing. I'd still treat it anyway, just in case.
Yes.
And then if you have mullein tincture or golden silk tincture, just do a couple dropperfuls 2 or 3 times a day. The mullein will really help break down the mucus, and if you have a cough, reduce the cough. The golden seal will break down the mucus and stimulate an immune function and things like that. So
Okay.
yeah,
Ooh, thank you very
you're
much.
so welcome.
And I just want to make sure everyone knows, like, we are doing the 1 day,
Yeah.
it's free, and it's for like
Right.
influenza, flu.
Oh yeah, I've completely forgot about that. So Brenda, also, like hopefully you're feeling better by then. But like this weekend we have the new class, but then the following weekend on Saturday,
Mhm.
it's just going to be about flus, colds, influenza, respiratory issues, sinus issues, just like the seasonal stuff that happens in the wintertime. We're just going to talk about like, okay, let's tackle it like these different ways. And, we're not going to just talk, we'll do, therapy with it as well. So even if you're feeling better, maybe do it to just help continue the process. But we'll also be going in depth. We're going to spend a whole day talking about it.
And is it okay if I invite others to join?
Yeah, it's a free class. You invite whoever you'd like.
All right. Thanks so
Yeah,
much.
you're so welcome.
Yeah, that goes with all of our stuff.
Mhm.
Feel free to share with people. Well, all the free ones, obviously.
Mhm.
Oh, there was a question. Here it is. I have a question. I took Auric and somatic programming, and I would like to know if there is a recommendation set of oils for autoimmune hypothyroidism. Thank you.
Hypothyroidism. I would do with autoimmune. Did I put that in the list of things? Can we see? I think we might have put just thyroid issues.
As far as the stack stuff
Yeah, we're
yes,
just
there's
in
the
the
conditions
yeah.
now, so yeah. I'll just go into the conditions
So we're looking that up for you right now on the website. We'll look at the website and then I'll kick in my 2 cents.
So when I typed thyroid, I haven't gone into the specifics, but endocrine and instinctive response were the 2 that came up.
Okay, so let's Auric stack wise, let's have you do endocrine, and then for autoimmune.
Do you want me to look up autoimmune?
I don't know. Autoimmune doesn't really. That's more of it in the vibration of the body rather than in the aura. So I would say do the endocrine system, and then do clove internally, 2 or 3 drops in water. That helps to balance out the thyroid. And clove is very good to use with autoimmune issues. And then I would use a vetiver body tonic to help calm down the autoimmune response. Vetiver would work, spikenard would work. Either one of those would be very helpful, but it would calm down a hypervigilant or hyperreactive immune response. So you have the endocrine Auric program, you have the clove internally, 2 or 3 drops in water, definitely in water, because clove is a little spicy. And then a body tonic of spikenard or vetiver applied at least to the torso, like the front side, a little bit of the back or the neck and shoulder a little bit. And it'll feel nice and it will help the immune system.
I'm just scrolling through for the different questions. And I'll let you know.
Mhm.
Good active chat today. Okay, got those ones. Right. Let me just make sure. I have to look up both my chats, guys. Thanks for your patience. Someone suggested clove and coffee is delicious. Well, they didn't
Ooh.
say delicious, but they did say
Yeah,
clove
that
and
would
coffee.
work. Oh, I bet that's kind of tasty.
Someone's asking any oil kit for the upcoming, I think they're asking about the upcoming class.
For the immune class, we're going to post it tomorrow. I'm going to write up the flyer. I haven't had time to write it yet. I'm going to write it first thing in the morning, and we'll get it out to you tomorrow. But it's going to be a lot of the immune oils, Monarda, Melissa, just something from this vein. Rosemary, tea tree, eucalyptus, ravensara, Neoli, thymes, lemongrass, cinnamon, so I'd say if you have like immune oriented oils, that will work, so we'll do therapy, but we'll also talk about potentials, and the thing with immune system issues that are seasonal like this, the other thing that we really don't think about is sometimes our weakened immunity is also your skin is depleted. And so things like parsley and, spikenard and helichrysum, applied to the body can be helpful as well. A lot of times I use parsley, but We'll talk about those components, but in the turn of the century, whenever this was actually at a physician's desk reference that I got this information way back in the day. And it was talking about colds and flus, and then it would say causes depleted skin. And so like even in those times, doctors who even looked at that aspect of the skin not functioning like it should. Nowadays we don't think about it, but in the old days, before pharmaceuticals were the way they are now, you had to make the body work properly. And so the skin being depleted is much more of an issue than you would think. So we're going to cover these different aspects. So
Will you talk about after having influenza?
yeah, before, during, after, prevention, how to try to knock it down, and then how to recover from it afterwards. Yeah. Yeah.
I think we have time for another little practice.
A little practice. So how about we'll do a little thing with that process in the head. If you have helichrysum, if you have chamomile, if you have basil or rosemary, some sort of fir or spruce, even hyssop, even if you want to use the active intelligence blend that we just did with the Auric programming. Okay. So whatever oil you're using, you're inhaling, your awareness is on your throat. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths with your awareness on the throat. And then drop down to the bottom of the throat minor, that little notch between the two collarbones. And then go to your back throat, the middle of the back of your neck. And then your awareness is on the jaws. Your awareness is on the jaws. Move your awareness to the temples. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths with your awareness on the temples. Your back head. Your awareness is on the back head. If you're typing it, it always shows up as like a misspelled word. Yeah. It's like spino, like with an O, and then that. It always will show up. And then your forehead. Your awareness is on your forehead. Your awareness is on your forehead. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Just pause and be still. Let's do that again. Your throat. You're inhaling with your awareness on your throat. Your throat minor, the bottom of the throat. The back throat, the middle of the back of your neck. The jaws, where they hinge in front of the ear, the jaws. The temples. Your awareness is on the temples. Your awareness is on the back of the head. And then the forehead. And then pause and be still. Just let it incubate for a moment. Well, I hope you had a good session tonight, a good Q&A, and we did our first Auric program tonight, and first of many, 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 many. So thanks for joining us. We're going to slide over to the Astoria prayer petition blessing. If you want to join us, it's just a little 15-minute thing where we kind of activate the heart and crown and then do a little blessing and do a little bit of service and bless the prayer petitions, but also kind of flush out the stress of the week and get into a little bit better place. So join us if you can. Take care.